As the Atlanta Hawks close the chapter on the Trae Young era in Atlanta, we now shift our attention to what's left on this roster, starting with Jalen Johnson, who has looked phenomenal for Atlanta, averaging 23 points a night, 10 rebounds, 8 assists, almost a triple double. He's shooting 52% from the field, 37% from three on 4.5 attempts, and he's been phenomenal for the Hawks, playing like the best player on this roster. Now, I saw this report, and what stands out to me is Anthony Davis. If I'm the Atlanta Hawks, I am not even thinking about trading for this man. First off, Shams reported it was yesterday that he is going to be sidelined for months after he gets a second opinion, potentially. And my thing is this: if you're the Hawks right now and you're looking at the roster and you're wondering, can a Kongu be a long term addition for the Atlanta Hawks? Well, looking at the numbers, he's averaged at least 9 rebounds in one season last year. That was his career high. He's around 7 to 9 rebounds a night. The thing is this: Okongwu is playing out of position. He shouldn't be your center. He needs to be at the power forward position. And I like him as a rim protector. I like him out there for the Hawks. And on top of that, he's only 25 years old. He fits the timeline of guys like Jalen Johnson and Dyson Daniels. You also have Nickeil Alexander-Walker. And on top of that, and I want to clarify something I said about the Hawks draft situation. Whatever happens with the Bucks and Pelicans, whoever finishes worse and whoever gets the highest draft pick, Atlanta gets that pick. So I wanted to clarify that. And what that means for Atlanta is they're going to have a top 5 pick. It looks like the Pelicans are going to have a worse record than the Bucks. And you should hold on to your draft capital, because if you're trying to get a superstar player, just wait till next year when Giannis becomes a free agent and then reconsider what you should do at the front court. They have really good pieces in Atlanta that they should just be patient with. Dyson Daniels, like I said, is one of the best perimeter defenders, probably the best in the NBA. Luke Kennard is a knockdown shooter. Corey Kispert is a knockdown shooter. So you could look at that and go, maybe we need some more variety with defense at the guard position. And obviously they're going to need a point guard. But you just look at them and go, let's see how they develop the rest of this year. Let's see what they look like going to next season. And you're going to have a good draft pick. So you're going to add probably a point guard in that draft class coming up or another impact player. And you're just adding more depth. The thing is, in the new CBA, your 9th and 10th guys have to be playable and they have to contribute, because you're going to need guys on cheaper contracts to get you in a position where you can play good basketball and keep them long term before they get their big deal. Because the days of having a big three and fitting complementary pieces around them is not as realistic anymore. So you got to build through the draft, and you have to get role players on cheaper contracts, so the minimum wage guys, etc. So for the Hawks right now, I'm taking my time. I'm not rushing things. If I bring in Anthony Davis, it doesn't make any sense, because you look at the core pieces for Atlanta. Jalen Johnson, he's 24 years old. Dyson Daniels, 22 years old. We talked about Okongwu being 25. Ricochet, 20 years old. And the list goes on. Kispert's 26. And yeah, CJ McCollum won't be here long term. Kristaps Porzingis probably won't be here long term. So you could move up those guys at some point and just, stay under that second apron. But they got financial flexibility. If I'm Atlanta and I'm going into this offseason, let's just look at the 2026 NBA free agents. Let's see if there's anybody that Atlanta could use. Now, Trae Young could opt out. I don't see that happening. But looking at the unrestricted free agents, Anthony Simons, he'll be a decent pickup. Kobe White, that wouldn't be bad. Quentin Grimes, you can get him on a cheaper contract. Kevin Huerter, Rui Hachimura. Porzingis is supposed to be a free agent, so you could let him walk. CJ McCollum is going to be walking as well. Maybe you go after a Colin Sexton. Again, you don't need the most flashiest guy. Robert Williams III is going to be a free agent. Maybe take a shot at him. Mitchell Robinson is going to be a free agent. That could be a nice little pickup for more depth at the center position. And Mitchell Robinson is 28 years old. I don't think they need to go for a home run. That's what I'm trying to say. Kobe White, I think, would be a great pickup, because he has showcased a lot of scoring ability for Chicago. And he could be in a situation where you pair him with Jalen Johnson. You have to pay him some money, but he's 26 years old. I'm looking at guys that fit my timeline. And if I need role players on cheaper deals, get a few guys in the offseason and get somebody in the draft. Don't go out and unload your assets for Anthony Davis. He can't stay healthy. That situation makes no sense to me. If you want to target some big free agents, you can go after Giannis in 2027. And you can say to Giannis, look, we got Jalen Johnson. We got a good perimeter defender in Dyson Daniels. Come and play with Atlanta if they want to go in that direction. But for the Hawks, take your time. Jalen Johnson is only going to get better. Dyson Daniels is only going to get better. And Okongwu, I'm keeping him, but play him at the power forward position. So the Hawks have pieces here. And also, you can move off Ricochet if it doesn't work out, or a guy like Asa Noel, who's 20 years old. There's a lot of things here that Atlanta has in place, and you shouldn't speed up the timeline just to fit your front court. Like this report is just a bunch of nonsense, in my opinion. I don't think you need to move off of Okongwu because he's been solid. And I think that would be a big mistake. As this person says, the Hawks are really one of the dumbest franchises of all time. Blunder after blunder. And this would be a blunder. You move a Congo, I'm like, what are you doing if you're Atlanta? Just take your time, be patient, see what happens. And this is exactly, you still want AD after what happened yesterday. So now it's reported he could be out for the rest of the season. And it's like, I don't get the fascination for Anthony Davis. I understand back in the days, if it was with the Lakers back in 2020, yeah, you consider going after him. Or he was on the Pelicans, take a shot at him. But we're in 2026, and the way the CBA is now, Atlanta should just be taking their time, being patient, and strike when necessary. Because this upcoming draft class, you can get somebody really good. I haven't looked at the current prospects, but you can find an impact player, or maybe you trade that pick for more draft capital in this upcoming draft or for next year's draft. You just got to play the long-term game, build this roster for 2 or 3 seasons, and see what you have. I mean, you can play the rest of the season out, see what you build around these players you have now, get a point guard in the offseason, not some flashy guy, and see what happens from there. That's what I would do. Who knows if the front office from Atlanta is going to, follow this idea, but I think they should just stay far away from Anthony Davis. It would be a dumb trade. It would get them in a situation where they might have to rebuild the roster, and now you're back to ground zero when you have a nice core of players here who can only get better, and who knows what the ceiling is going to look like with Jalen Johnson leading the charge. Hope you guys enjoyed my thoughts on why Atlanta should stay far away from Anthony Davis in a trade. Do you agree or disagree? What should the Hawks do next to upgrade this roster? Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you on the next one.